Today we're going to be talking about factoring trinomials. And as we know, trinomials are expressions with three terms. And when you factor, it means an expression with only factors, which means that you're going to be multiplying. Here's an example. We have x squared plus 8x plus 5. Notice that we have a trinomial because we have three terms, 1, 2, 3. And notice we have factored it such that we have x plus 3 times x plus 5. So that's how to go from three terms to two factors. All right, let's take a look at example 1, which is x squared plus 7x plus 12. Now, whenever we factor, what I want you to remember is to look in the back. You are going to have to look in the back for two things. The first thing we're going to be concerned about are the signs. And then I want you to look in the back again, and that is going to be for the factors. All right, so let's start in the back with the signs. Notice I have an addition sign. Whenever you have an addition sign, that tells us that the signs are going to be the same. So when I write this, I'm going to write x plus times x plus. And it's a plus because you always are going to have the sign that's in the front. Notice both signs are the same. They're both addition. Do not look in the front. Look in the back. Because if it's a plus sign, it tells us that the signs are going to be the same. Now, then you have to look in the back the second time, because that's going to determine the factors. You start here and you say, what factors of 12 do I add to get 7? If you're not sure, put your 12 there, and just go through the factors starting with 1. 1 and 12. When I add 1 and 12, I get 13. That doesn't work because I need 7. Then I'm going to go to 2 and 6. Well, when I add 2 and 6, I get 8. That doesn't work because I need 7. Then I go to 3. 3 and 4, and that's how I get 7. And it doesn't matter where you put the numbers, the factors, 3 and 4, because the signs are going to be the same, so it's not going to matter. All right, let's look at example 2. We have x squared plus 9x plus 20. All right, where do we look? We look in the back to see what our signs are going to be. It's a plus sign, so our signs are going to be the same, and they're both going to be addition. So I'm going to write x plus x plus. Now, go to the back again to find out what your factors are going to be. Here's the sentence you're looking for. What factors of 20 do I add to get 9? If you don't know, just go to the side. 1 and 20. Always start with 1 because sometimes 1 is the answer. All right, 1 plus 20 is 21. We need 9. Then I'm going to go to 2. 2 plus 10. No, that doesn't work because I need 9. 3 can't go into 20 evenly. So then I go to 4. And I get 4 plus 5, which is 9. That's the answer I'm looking for. I'll put a 4 here and a 5 there. And it's just that simple. All right, let's take a look at another example. Let's look at this one, example 3, x squared minus 7x plus 10. All right, now where do we start? In the back. We always start in the back. Never look in the front, always start in the back. All right, because I have a plus sign, I told you it means that the signs are going to be the same. So therefore, you look in the front to see what the sign is going to be. After you look in the back, it tells you the signs are the same. They're both going to be the signs that are in the front. So I'm going to write x minus x minus. Now, to find out what the factors are, you still go to the back and look at the sentence. What factors of 10 do I add to get 7? Let's start off with 1 and 10. Nope, that gives me 11. So I have to go to the next set, 2 and 5, and that is correct, 2 and 5. All right, let's look at our fourth example. Whoops. Let's look at our fourth example. X squared minus 8x plus 12. All right, now I'm going to look in the back. Signs are the same. They're both going to be subtraction. Same sign, subtraction. X minus, X minus. To get my factors, I go to the back. What factors of 12 do I add to get 8? So is it 1 and 12? Nope. That gives me 13. 2 and 6, that's it. Doesn't matter where you put the sign, where you put the factors, because the signs are the same. Now, what happens when the signs are different? And how do I know that the signs are different? Well, let's think about it. If we start at the back, and if I have a plus sign, the signs, that means that my signs for my factors are going to be the same. Let's see what happens, example 5. Let's see what happens, how I'll know that the signs are different. X squared plus 3x minus 10. Well, it says to start at the back of the sign, but I don't have a plus sign. I have a minus sign. Whenever you have a minus sign in the back, that means the signs are different. So I'm immediately going to write x plus x minus. And you say, well, what about that plus sign? Don't worry about that plus sign yet, because we know that the signs are different. Now, for the factors, we have to go to the back again, and you're going to ask yourself that question. What factors of 10 do I subtract and get 3? Well, let's see. 1 and 10? Nope, that doesn't work. 2 and 5? Yes, 5 minus 2 is going to give us 3. However, you're always going to look for the larger factor, because the larger factor is special. This goes with the sign of the larger number. So since I have a plus sign in the front, that means that my 5 has to go with the plus sign. So I'm going to put a 5 here, and I'm going to put the 2 there. Let's do another one. Example 6. X squared minus 7x minus 18. All right, don't forget, look in the back first. I have a subtraction sign. That means the signs are going to be different. So I'm going to write x plus x minus. Now the question is, what factors of 18 do I subtract and get 7? So let's start with 18. 1 and 18, that does not work because I would get 17 and I need 7. 2 and 9, that's the one that works. And you have to identify the larger factor. In this case, the larger factor is 9, and it has to go with the sign that's in the front. Okay? So that means I'm going to put my 9 here, because this is a subtraction sign, and the larger factor has to go with the subtraction sign. That means that the other factor has to go with the addition sign. So that's what you need to remember. You need to remember when the signs are different, that you are going to find the correct factors. What factors of 10 do I subtract to get 3? And that's going to be 5 and 2. Identify your larger factor, and it goes with the sign in the front. There's the plus sign in the front, so my 5 had to go there. That meant the 2 went there. When I have 2 and 9 here, and there's a minus sign in the front, the 9 is the special factor. It has to go with the subtraction sign. So it will go here, and that meant that the 2 would go there. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to a different level. We factored before. Now we're going to use factoring to solve equations. So for example 7, let's use x squared plus 8x minus, let me change that to 8x minus x squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0. All right, we're going to work this the exact same way. We're going to start in the back. Both signs are going to be subtraction. So I'm going to write x minus. I can put equals 0. Now, what factors of 15 do I add to get 8? It's not 1 to 15 because that gives me 16 when I add them. Let's try, 2 is not going to work because that's even. So let's do 3 and 5, and those are my correct factors. And because the signs are the same, it doesn't matter where I put it. So I'm going to put a 3 here and a 5 here. Now, to solve this, you're going to set each one of these factors equal to 0. So it's x minus 3 equals 0, and x minus 5 equals 0. And when I solve it, I'm adding 3 to both sides, and that gives me x equals 3. Here I'm going to add 5 to both sides, and that gives me x equals 5. All right, let's take a look at example 8, where I have x squared minus 6x minus 27 equals 0. All right, where do we start? In the back. We always start in the back. Look for the signs. We start with the signs, and we always start in the back. All right, this tells me that the signs are going to be different. So I'm going to write x plus, x minus. Now, our sentence for our factors are in the back also. What factors of 27 do I subtract and get 6? Okay, so I'll put 27 over here. 1 and 27 doesn't work. That will give me 26. Then I will go to 3 and 9, and that is the correct one. Now, if you notice, I have to pick out the larger factor. The larger factor is going to be 9. So I'm going to circle that. And it has to go with the sign in the front. This tells me that the signs are different. This tells me that this is the sign of the larger factor. So the 9 has to go with the subtraction sign, which means that the 3 has to go in the other location. So when I solve it, I'm going to get equals 0. Set each one of these factors equal to 0. So I'm going to set x plus 3 equal to 0. And I'm going to set x minus 9 equal to 0. Here I'm going to add a negative 3 to each side. That gives me x equals negative 3. Here I'm going to add positive 9 to both sides. And that gives me x equals 9. All right, let me see if I can get 2 more examples in here. X squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0. All right, we're just going to go through this. Start in the back for my signs. It is a subtraction sign, so my signs are different. Okay, now what factors of 21 do I subtract and get 4? And it's going to be 3 and 7. And 7 is larger, so the 7 has to go with the minus, and 3 has to go in the other location. I set each one equal to 0. I'm going to add a negative 3 to both sides. That gives me x equals negative 3. And here I'm going to add a positive 7 to both sides. That gives me x equals 7. All right, last but not least, I'm going to continue this on another video, but basically, as you know, you're going to factor it first. Then when you properly factor it, you're going to set each one of the factors equal to 0, and that will give you your value for x.